the Design and Remodeling Show with Custom Built.
Welcome to the Design and Remodeling Show, where we discuss all things home improvement. I'm Isabel Broidigam with Custom Built Design and Remodeling. On this episode, we're taking a look at 2 floor plans submitted to us by homeowners who are uncertain about their current designs. They're looking for a new approach before fully committing to their project, which is why we've invited 2 of our designers on the show today to walk us through their process and offer a new angle for these homeowners. So Amy, Diana, I'm really excited to have you both on here today, and Michael, you as well. Before we jump into actually looking at the floor plans that these homeowners have submitted, let's go ahead and do some introductions. So Diana, I'll kick it to you. Can you tell us who you are and what you're most passionate about when it comes to design?
Absolutely. I'm Diana Corsi, a project development advisor with Custom Built. I'm also our cabinet specialist and a designer. My favorite thing about design is really creating beautiful, functional spaces. I really enjoy working with homeowners and coming up with creative solutions for their spaces.
Yeah, amazing. And then Amy, tell me who you are and what you're most passionate about when it comes to design.
Yeah, so I'm Amy Rowley. I'm one of the design assistants here at Custom Built. One thing that I love about design is just working with the homeowners and making their dreams come into reality.
Amazing. And then Michael, you've been on the show before, but go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you love most about working with a homeowner in the design phase.
Yeah, so for me, as a builder, started this company many years ago. Design was always the biggest hang-up. And so to have a design team, to be on this show with y'all, I think the most exciting thing is when a homeowner gets locked into that design and then we can go execute on it, because it was always the thing that would keep me from being able to move forward or in the middle of a project. We needed that design input, that confidence. So I love just connecting and seeing that all happen and then the project come to pass.
Amazing. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at our first floor plan here. So these primary bath plans were submitted by Sandy, a homeowner who is ready to transform her space with a focus on functionality. She's already collaborated with a designer and selected materials, but hasn't chosen a contractor because she's feeling a little frustrated with her current floor plan. The biggest issue is that Sandy's current layout lacks sufficient storage, including a linen closet, and while her existing cabinet is spacious, it is too deep to be practical. So she's hoping to feel more confident in her design before committing to this project. And looking at the floor plans, I have to say, there seems to be a lot of room in the design and what we could do here. So Diana, I'm going to bounce this to you. What are your initial thoughts when you saw this floor plan?
I do think there's a lot of potential with the space, and this is a good design. Some things I like about it are the water closet, having the toilet separate so there's some privacy.
Yeah.
I saw some before images, and she did have 2 separate vanities. I like that we created a double vanity for her. Just a few changes that I made when I played around with the design. I wasn't quite sure if the tub was accessible, so I just created a larger shower and a wet room. So the shower and tub are enclosed. I've got big glass walls. It also gave me a side wall to put a linen closet on.
Okay.
And I did keep her seated vanity area, but kind of flip-flopped it from where it is now.
Okay.
So really I just utilized a little bit more of the floor space. So
Yeah.
it's more
Amazing.
functional.
Yeah, and then Amy, what about you when you first saw these floor plans? What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so again, bouncing off what you guys have said, there's a lot of open space. Just making sure that we are using all that potential space. Possibly adding another window for some more natural lighting, depending on how much light comes up through the space. So, yeah.
Awesome. Michael, did you have any thoughts on this design?
Well, I was excited to see what you guys came up with, but I always think about in the design side, a lot of my head goes to the production side, oh, we want to put a window in. What kind of exterior do we got? How's that going to go? So just some practical things there that could ultimately, depending on what the client's budget is, factor into
relocating plumbing. That would be an additional expense.
Yeah.
So
what's feasible, what can be done, but yeah, I'm excited. It definitely is looks like a nice plan, but love to see what we came up with.
Yeah. So then flipping to the new floor plan we came up with, which Diana, you already gave a little introduction to, but we created that wet room area, which explain that to me. That's like a newer concept that we're starting to see in design.
We are seeing it more often. It's when the shower and tub are in the same enclosure.
Okay.
So the entire space is waterproofed and
Yeah.
so the entire area can be wet.
Amazing. And what do you think are some of the benefits for that for a homeowner?
For this project specifically, it has better access to the tub,
Yeah.
so you can enter it a couple different, straight on, I guess I should say, instead of from the end. And then it also gives you a bigger shower. So I personally like a lot of space.
Yeah.
And again, just we were able to utilize more of the bathroom.
Okay. Awesome. All right, amazing. Well, I'm really excited to see what Sandy thinks. She's going to watch this episode live to hear what we've suggested, but great work on that team. All right, so pulling up the second design here, we've got a kitchen project we're looking at. So different kind of challenge than what we saw before. This kitchen belongs to the Smith family, a busy family of 10 who finds themselves constantly bumping into each other during their daily routines. Their existing space is dated, they're struggling with insufficient storage, and a layout that doesn't quite work for their household. They've reached out to us in hopes of finding a way to maximize their square footage while creating dedicated zones for cooking, homework, and family time. So Michael, this one sounded a little familiar. I mean, you've got a large family, so talk to me a little bit about that struggle when you're in a kitchen space that doesn't flow well for a lot of people.
Well, first of all, I gotta say I don't do much of the work in the kitchen, but to hear what my wife says, I often hear that like there's too many people, it's too cramped. We had a kitchen layout where there was an island in the middle, and she had to go through the island to get to the refrigerator or whatever. So I think the biggest thing is with a larger family is probably the space is never too big. So maximizing the space and enough storage. I mean, you got a lot of moving parts, and then I think for us too is like we like to put stuff away. So again, having enough storage to where, because the kids will just leave stuff all over the place if you're not careful. So I'm imagining some of that's going on here in this space.
Awesome. And then Amy, I'd love to hear this existing floor plan that we've got. What were your initial thoughts when you saw it? What are some opportunities or downsides?
Yeah, so personally the kitchen is the heart of the home. It's where everybody comes to gather, everybody comes just to come together as one.
Yeah.
With that being said, with this kitchen space, it does look like a lot of people will just bump into each other. There's not enough space. There's probably not a lot of storage either. Yeah.
Awesome. And then Diana, what about you? Did you have any initial thoughts when you looked at this floor plan?
I've seen a similar floor plan many times. This person must be local, maybe the same builder. My first thought was probably to move the dining so that we could utilize that entire space for the kitchen, kind of expand. But like you mentioned, I think good flow is really important for multiple cooks in the kitchen.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see what Amy came up with.
Awesome. So yeah, now let's take a look at that floor plan, Amy,
Well,
that you put together.
Before we jump into it, one of the
Sure.
other issues that we have at our house, and I'm not sure this homeowner's dealing with or not, but animals can also run into an issue. So did you think about that, Amy? Did you got a place in there to lock the animals up during cooking time so that they're not? Because that's definitely an issue in our house.
Keep them in the living room.
Yeah.
Baby gates.
Yeah.
Get some baby gates.
All right.
I love it. All right, so yeah, go ahead and just walk me through, the design that you put together here and what your thoughts were.
Yeah, again, so reiterating, the kitchen is the main heart of the home. With that being said, we did move the dining room table to the actual dining room. We did open up that space a little bit more, so there's more of a walkway. And then we also did include like a big island as the big focal piece of the room as well. We still did want to keep that working triangle, so being able to reach the sink, fridge, and stove as the main pieces of the kitchen. Also just making it like fluid throughout the space, so there's enough walkway and also enough storage.
Amazing. And one of the design things that you did was actually move a patio door.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So move that to the other side to allow for more cabinet storage.
Yeah, and with that being said too, yeah, we did move the patio door so then we could also add a bigger window. So we added a picture window in so we could add more natural daylight throughout the space.
Amazing.
I did notice on the first plan there were soffits, and so removing those and bringing the cabinets to the ceiling will also give this homeowner additional storage.
Yeah. And that's something we see common in older homes, correct?
We do.
People always ask, why are they there? Is there something in them?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, talk about that a little bit.
There can be electrical, plumbing, HVAC. I've seen it all. And a lot of times there's nothing.
Yeah.
They're just there to fill the space between cabinets that were probably on the stock side.
Yeah,
less
economical, shorter cabinets so
Yes.
they could get a stock price, but to have that feel that it went all the way to the ceiling, even though
Yeah,
it didn't.
Yeah.
sure. Not have a dust collector up there.
Most of the time we're designing to remove those in most cases.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. And what are we seeing with the cabinet trend right now? I mean, I know for a while it was like bring the cabinets all the way to the ceiling, and now we're seeing like maybe bring them down a little bit. Do you guys have any insights on that?
There is something called a shadow line where we can bring it a little bit or drop it down from the ceiling. It kind of depends on the home. If it's an older home where things aren't going to be level, I'll suggest that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of depends on the look that they're going for. There are
Okay.
things that are more traditional or modern or transitional.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Yeah, some people they want the cabinets right to the ceiling, but the problem, and Diana was hitting on it, is that in an older home, nothing's level.
yeah,
So if you put the cabinets up on this side, but you get over here, now you're an inch up into your drywall, trust me, it's going to be a cluster to make that look good. And so sometimes it's like if you lower it down, it might shadow line, it might go away a little bit so you don't see the unevenness of the space.
Yep.
So
Amazing.
definitely pros and cons.
Yeah. So we've gotten to look at 2 floor plans with homeowners, which is awesome. And I want to talk a little bit about just the design process in general. And Michael, maybe I'll turn this question to you. But we often work with homeowners, and we have a very set design process where we walk them through and we get measurements and photos and then put together a layout and then do selections all the way up until we get our trades out there to quote it. And so we have a very systematized way we do design. But what would you recommend for a homeowner who wants to remodel? They don't have plans, and maybe they do. A lot of times people will say they have plans. What does that conversation look like?
I mean, starting off, are they looking for somebody, or if they're just going to be doing this on their own?
I think probably for somebody who's not sure what their next step is.
Yeah.
So they haven't decided.
So depending on your skill set, I would say if you have the ability to draw something up, envision it, do all the work. I mean, there's definitely things that you can do, and certainly a lot of information on our website that somebody could grab a hold of and read some of the articles and try to design it themselves. I would say if you're indecisive and you're not quite sure what you want and you are going to try to DIY it yourself, getting professional help is going to save you a ton of time. So just like on the back side, if you hire the carpenters and the plumbers and the electricians, it's going to save you a ton of time. On the front side, I would say the same thing. If you don't have the skill set and you don't really enjoy doing it, you like dreaming about it, maybe you like thinking about it, but you want Diana in your life to sort of organize it all and put it all together. It's a whole, the stuff that they experience in our process is maybe 5 or 6 hours of their time, but behind the scenes, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You ever see an iceberg? Down below there's 75% more that goes in, and in this case in design there's just so much work that Amy and Diana are doing to collecting the as-built to actually be able to make sure it all works, because before you order those cabinets, it's got to all be thought through, and it's not just are the cabinets going to fit, it's what about the exterior? What about this? If we do cut out the brick, how we can't match it? What are we going to put in replace of that? Like all those little details. You get to an end of a project, and for me as a builder, like you get to the end of it, it's like you got builder embarrassment. Like the one thing wasn't done. DIY. Like how come that thing never got? Well, just all those little things they never got figured out. So then it just sets. So
I even think of, I've seen a lot of kitchens. I've been doing this for 10 years now.
Yeah.
And you can you can tell when somebody did not get professional help because cabinet doors are opening into each other, or there weren't enough fillers to make sure things function properly. There are a lot of details that go into even the cabinet layout.
Yeah. It's just not looks and
That's right.
all the little things like
Yeah,
that. So
having drawers open into appliances.
yeah.
And Diana, I know you personally have done a lot of remodeling in your home. And so have you done remodeling where you didn't have a plan?
Yes, my first house, before I got into kitchen and bath remodeling, I did do my own kitchen. There were some things, looking back on it, I would have done differently now. But then I got a new house and I remodeled it, and I do love my kitchen still. That was about 6 years ago. But I'm always thinking up new projects.
Yeah. And now, I mean, you really are equipped to self-manage a project, right? Like you got the design down and the layout and everything.
Yes, I think the biggest part is having a plan to show contractors so that they know what exactly you're talking about.
Yeah.
Even elevation views, so the front on pictures are so important, instead of just a floor plan where it's top down. So you can see, oh, that light fixture is going to hit when I open this cabinet, or you can just find more places that things might go wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, this has been super educational and informational. Really appreciate all of your time and insights and expertise. If you are curious to learn more and want to follow along with our show, visit callcustombuilt.com. We'd love to connect with you on our website and help you transform the place you live into a home you love. I'm here with Kelsey from Paul Davis Restoration, and today we're going to talk about dealing with odor and soot after a fire. So welcome, Kelsey.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. So when a homeowner has a fire that occurs, what are the first steps for them to deal with that odor and soot?
Yeah, well, dealing with a fire is never fun, obviously, but there is an extensive process, and you need the right tools and techniques to fully get rid of that awful smell after a fire.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit more about that process. How do you really get rid of the odor and soot from a fire?
Well, you have to consider every home and every fire is different. So we're always going to remove the source of the fire. A lot of them are actually cooking fires, so we're going to remove the oven in that case. And any burnt building material is also going to be fully removed. Then you have to think about scrubbing down the walls and the cabinets, and you need the right tools and techniques for that. And then you need to think about your personal belongings. We're actually going to remove the salvageable ones for you and clean them on site at our facility. Then you have to think about, I like to say, like the air and the veins of the home. So you want to think the HVAC system needs to be thoroughly cleaned, and then the air as well in the home gets scrubbed is what we call it. And for that we use hydroxyl services and HEPA air filters.
Amazing. So what makes Paul Davis Restoration the right company to call after a fire?
Well, Paul Davis Restoration has over 50 years of experience, so we really understand the chemistry of fire. Our technicians are trained and certified in fire and odor removal, so they can be fully prepared to come in and do the job well and do the job right for you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This was super informational.
Thank you.
I'm here with Dan from Acme Exteriors, and today we're going to dive into roofs. So Dan, could you tell me, when a client has some streaking or discoloration on their roof, what typically causes that?
Yeah, that dark streaking on your roof is typically algae, and that's often found in areas where there's shade or moisture. Now the algae can grow in lots of areas, and the other thing is that a lot of times there's moss and lichen that can grow as well.
Okay, and then how can you fix that? I mean, once you've got the moss and algae in your roof, what's the next step?
Yeah, so it's important to make sure that your roof is in good condition. But if your roof is in good condition, shingles look good, then you can often have somebody come out and actually do a wash of your roof and clean that algae off the roof.
Now, I've heard that you have to be careful when power washing your roof. Is that true?
Absolutely. You do not want to power wash your roof.
Okay.
These companies will come in and they'll do just a spray or a soft wash on the roof, which uses a chemical component to kill and wash that off. If you use power washing, you could damage your shingles, and that's a big problem.
Okay. And then earlier you mentioned if the roof is in good condition. So how long are you saying roofs last right now?
A good quality roof should last you around 30 years.
Okay. And then last question for you is, how do you prevent the moss and algae from growing on your shingles?
Yeah. So making sure that you keep your roof clean of debris, clean your gutters, cut back trees and shrubs from your roof, allow it to open up and breathe. And then also, when it's time to replace your roof, talk to your contractor about getting an algae resistant shingle. Most modern shingles will actually have the algae resistance in the granule.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thanks, Isabel.
I'm here with Tom from Carpet Studio Flooring America, and today, Tom, I want to dive into luxury vinyl flooring. Can you tell me why over the last couple years it's become so popular, such a popular choice for homeowners?
Absolutely. Well, what we feel is that it's become a product that looks like either a ceramic or a porcelain tile. We have wood looks, so it can give you a look that you're looking for without maybe the maintenance. This particular product is going to be a little bit easier to maintain, a little bit easier to install as well. And I think it's going to be a little bit more durable than some of the other products that are out there in the industry. And it gives a customer a peace of mind that they're going to have a floor that's going to be durable and it's going to last a long time.
Okay. You mentioned it's easier to maintain. So what are some of the ways a homeowner can care for their luxury vinyl plank or tile flooring?
Well, we do have just a dust mop kit that we offer with our sale of the product. But again, the old Swiffer that you see on TV works just as great. So using a Swiffer, and every now and then, if you get a little tough area, just a little bit of the proper products like the proper vinyl products such as we call it Encore, or we have a product called Resist or Resilient Floor Cleaner. Those are the products you want to use to maintain that floor.
Okay. And then I know everybody has a little bit of a different opinion on luxury vinyl tile and plank. What's your personal opinion? Do you like the flooring?
Well, I have it throughout my house. So
Okay.
I feel with the pets that I have, it works out great. It's a great option. Again, it's the look of a wood floor, and I think it looks absolutely spectacular.
Awesome. So there you have it. If you're interested in luxury vinyl flooring, reach out to Tom at Carpet Studio Flooring America. He'll help you out with all of your needs, from installation to cleaning after. I'm here with Brennan from Consumers Concrete, and we're coming up on winter, Brennan. So can you tell me, is it a bad idea for homeowners to use salt on their concrete?
The short and sweet answer is yes. We would not recommend using salt or any de-icing chemicals to get either snow or ice off of your concrete in the winter.
Okay. And how does, I'm assuming it's because it's damaging?
Yep.
How does salt damage your concrete?
Yeah, so salt damages your concrete because obviously salt and other de-icing agents are made to melt the snow and ice, and that actually creates a slurry that absorbs down into your concrete. So exterior concrete is intentionally made to be porous like a sponge to help prevent against freeze-thaw cycles. And so when that slurry gets down into those voids, it actually eats away at the cement paste and can cause cracking and flaking, and which is also called spalling.
Okay. And is there any way to prevent that from happening?
Yeah, so the best way to prevent it from happening is sealing your concrete. So we had previously touched on curing and sealing concrete, but there's also different types of sealers that can be used. So we recommend penetrating sealers that contain either silane or siloxane. And these actually don't just create a thin surface membrane, they actually penetrate deep into the concrete and help form that protective barrier.
Okay. So seal it first before the winter comes, and then once winter's here, I mean, a lot of homeowners are going to use salt. So what's your recommendation on the best product to keep their concrete in good condition?
And obviously, you're exactly right. We can't stop people from using those types of de-icing agents, but we would recommend sodium chloride, also called rock salt. That is the least abrasive and least damaging from the types of de-icing agents.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brennan. I'm here with Michael Flory, founder and CEO of Custom Built, and today we're going to dive into design build firms. So can you start by telling me what makes a design build firm different from traditional remodeling?
Yeah, just on a high level, traditional remodeling versus design build. Traditional remodeling requires you as the homeowner to coordinate a lot of people. The design build is you got one point of contact, and done well, you'll have one person that will be your guide through the entire process. I would say with another big difference with traditional remodeling, on top of having to coordinate, you're probably going to an outside designer, an outside cabinet company to help you pick out your cabinets. Flooring, you're doing a lot of running around. Again, with the design build model, you have one point of contact within that company exists the design team. They have all the parts and players. So your front person that you're working with that's going to be with you to guide you through the whole thing has all those resources within the four walls of their business. Thus, reducing your time from a lot of time, maybe 10x time savings times, or maybe even 100x in some cases, where working with a remodeling company versus working with a design build company, it's going to save you a lot of time.
Wow. So, I mean, you've touched on it already, but really for homeowners, then the big benefit is time saving. What else?
Right. I would say on the flip side, there might be a money savings if you're going to go traditional remodel route. So if you want to be that coordinator, if you want to schedule things, if you want to deal with warranty issues, getting the materials there on site, handling, rescheduling everybody when things fall apart. Because on the design build side, they're going to handle all of that. A lot of the stuff you won't even notice. A lot of times we have to remind customers of all the things that we solved because it can feel very seamless until something goes wrong. But everyday stuff goes wrong. So.
Amazing. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm here with Stuart from Northville Lumber. Welcome.
Hi, Isabel. We're excited to talk about wood for outdoor projects today.
Yeah, so there's so many products available for outdoor projects. Could you run us through the options that you at Northville carry?
Sure. We carry standard lumber. We carry preservative treated lumber meant for outdoor use. We carry cedar. We carry composite lumber. We carry PVC lumber. We even carry fiberglass lumber today.
Wow. So how does a homeowner choose the right wood or the right type for their project?
Well, you start with defining the project. Let's say someone wanted to do a raised garden bed. So the natural choice would be a preservative treated lumber, which won't be affected by the sun and the rain as normal untreated lumber would be. But there's a possibility that the chemicals they treat the lumber with might end up in the soil and possibly in the plants that are in your garden. So we avoid that, and then we talk about products like cedar or other composite products that might be a better use.
Okay, so if I do want to build, because you're onto something, I actually have this project in mind for next summer, a raised garden bed. You would direct me more towards cedar or composite.
Right. The problem that cedar is it's an expensive lumber, substantially more expensive than its untreated counterparts. Composite lumber, fiberglass lumber shows a lot of promise, but you talk about how long do you really want this raised garden bed to last?
Yeah.
It's a possibility that you could get away with standard construction grade, untreated lumber and do a great job.
Okay, amazing. Well, this was super informational today. Thank you so much for your time, Stuart.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
I hope you've been enjoying the Design and Remodeling Show, where we talk all things expert insights and practical tips to help you transform the place you live into a home you love. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for watching the Design and Remodeling Show with Custom Built. See you next week.
We are the company to trust when the concrete matters.